Biobutanol, the future of fuel. So, what are biofuels? To start off with, biofuels are any sort of fuel that is derived and produced from biomass, which is plant or animal waste. The most important and key factor of all this is that they are sources of renewable energy, which makes it better for our environment in the long run. Biobutanol, which is our main topic of discussion, is specifically butanol that is made through the fermentation of a biomass feedstock. The production of biobutanol. The biomass feedstocks that are the sources of biobutanol's formation are typically corn grain and sugarcane, which also make up ethanol. In ABE fermentation, which makes up biobutanol, the bacterial strand used is from the Clostridium species. This bacteria species will produce butanol by converting it from carbohydrates within the feedstock. This process will also produce acetone and ethanol as byproducts. First, the bacteria converts the feedstock into acids, which is then transformed into solvents. Then it is separated and purified to extract the butanol. There is a catch to this production process. The product of butanol is toxic to the bacteria that makes it up. This results in a smaller product size. Scientists have begun combating this by genetically modifying the bacteria so it can withstand more toxicity. Regarding biobutanol's current usage, it's still being researched and developed. This means that it's not quite out in the field yet. However, the potential and demand for this biofuel are quite high. As stated earlier, there's still issues in its production, mainly the butanol itself being toxic to the bacteria that produces it. Despite this, some companies like Gevo are already implementing it. Gevo has been producing biobutanol for years now and have made great steps in producing a final product. They use this in aviation engines and such. The carbon footprint impact of biobutanol really relies on the feedstock that you use. If you use corn, it will produce 79 to 122 grams of CO2 per megajoule, while sugarcane would only produce negative 55 to 18 grams. This is a stark difference, and sugarcane would be a lot better at combating its carbon footprint. Through its production, does biobutanol really show its impact? The CO2 it produces is captured by the feedstock, which will combat the actual CO2 that is released when it's burned. This results in a net loss. Since biobutanol isn't exactly widely used yet, it doesn't really have that big of an economic impact now, but we can quite easily predict what its impact is going to be in the future. The market for ethanol-free gas is around 7 billion gallons a year, while the market in reformulated gasoline zones would be around 2.2 billion gallons a year. As ethanol-free gas that is also effective, biobutanol fuel will make the big economic impact in these zones, as it can dominate both of these and reign supreme. As a result of biobutanol not widely being accepted and used yet, it's not really known in the media. However, it has seen recognition online as being promising, and it's highlighted on the US Department of Energy's website as a fuel that's emerging and showing promise as it has advantages over ethanol. Companies like Gevo are currently trying to implement biobutanol and in the process getting the idea out to the public as a fuel. However, it is quite hard as nobody really knows what it does yet. My analysis of biobutanol as a whole is that it's obviously a very promising source of fuel that can be utilized soon. Its benefits include higher energy content, fewer emissions, and lower reed vapor pressure when compared to other gasoline alternatives. The obvious main issue, though, is in its production. The product being toxic to the bacteria is detrimental to its usage. This leads into the next steps. The simple and obvious next step is to continue working on modifying the bacteria used to produce it so it can withstand the toxicity that it produces. Once that is finally perfected, we start talking to the public. Biobutanol is relatively unknown to the public as a fuel alternative, and by gaining popularity, it would be easier to suggest a transition to biobutanol as a potential new energy source. If funds weren't an issue, the immediate course of action would be to dedicate a lot of money and resources into perfecting the modification of the bacteria, which is used to make the biobutanol. Once this issue is resolved, the next target would be to dedicate funding into marketing, so the world can learn about biobutanol. Once that is done, a large amount of land should be purchased and maintained to produce sugarcane for the feedstock. This will provide the most environmentally safe production. After that, it's all about implementation. First, the ethanol-free gas market should be focused on to make a biobutanol more widely used. After that, its rise to main fuel source will begin as people rely more and more on renewable energy. These are my sources in MLA format, and these are the sources of my photos. Thank you.